Pretty crazy weather last night,
Yes.
right? A lot of us were maybe heading to bed or sleeping. That dust storm rolled through.
Slept through that.
Yeah, it kicked up the wind pretty significantly across parts of the valley, caused all of that poor air quality for us throughout the day today. So what we're watching right now, there are some showers and storms out in eastern Arizona. We're going to watch what happens down to the south of us. It could be a similar setup to last night, where we saw some showers and storms down in southern Arizona, and that kicked up some outflow boundaries here across the valley. So there is a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for southern Arizona through 10 p.m. tonight. So there is definitely the possibility of, again, some heavy rain in southern Arizona, and now a blowing dust advisory. This is in effect for Cochise, Graham, Greenlee counties throughout 8 p.m. this evening, as we could get another round of some blowing dust down to the south as well. So we'll continue to monitor that. We are under that air quality alert here in central Arizona throughout the day today. It's PM 10. That's basically that dust that is all across the valley, kind of sunk down to the surface early this morning. So keep in mind, if you do have any upper respiratory issues or people who are elderly, may want to limit outdoor activity throughout this evening. You can still see kind of that brown haze out there. This is a live look with our tower camera out in Phoenix right now, 105 outside right now. So those temperatures actually a little bit shy of what we originally anticipated, and that's because of that storm from last night and those lingering clouds today. So we'll still keep our first alert weather days through Friday. That's for the heat. Poor air quality throughout this evening, with the worst up in the Northwest Valley, and gusty outflows possible tonight, which could bring another round of some gusty winds and dusty conditions as well. High temperatures tomorrow. While we're at 108 in Phoenix, our humidity is going to go up for tomorrow, so it's going to feel a little bit more sticky and uncomfortable. So feels like temperatures will be warmer than that. 111 tomorrow in Lake Havasu, 98 in Sedona. We'll be at 84 tomorrow in the Flagstaff area. So again, the possibility of showers and storms on the heavier side later on tonight in southern Arizona, possible for an outflow boundary to make it here to the valley, and that's what would create some blowing dust concerns. Then we wake up tomorrow, it's pretty quiet, but by tomorrow evening, some spotty showers are back in the forecast, and the possibility of some embedded thunderstorms for northern and eastern Arizona, also across the southeast, and a similar setup even as we head into Thursday and Friday. So that will bring up the humidity here in the valley. We're looking at temperatures pretty hot all the way through the upcoming weekend. Finally, a bit of a break by early next week, by Monday, Tuesday, around 107 to 106.